Nina, this is my new desk, and Daddy made it for me, and I liked it so much. And I hugged Daddy a lot of times, but I don't remember how many times. Bye-bye.
This project actually started with a suggestion from Kumiko. She wondered if I could build a table or desk of some kind for Nina to study at, keep stuff on, and I jumped in feet first with more enthusiasm than knowledge. I started out by taking some measurements, figuring out what size to make the table, drawing up a simple plan, then got some inexpensive wood at Beaver Home Center. Then, I don't even remember what day this was, I just set everything up in the entranceway of my house, which was a bit of a mistake really, and started cutting and sawing and sanding. No, I didn't do sanding at this point. The first day was all cut. Oh no, it was sanding too. And then there was a lot of cleanup because I made a lot of sawdust. Duncan did help me out at one point holding the board that needed cutting, but mostly I was on my own, dodging the occasional visitor. Looking at the dates on the video files, I actually started this on December 31st, 2019. And 2020 actually had a pretty good start for me because I got to go out onto the deck on a nice sunny day and continue working on Nina's desk. Mostly on this second day of work, I was cutting the mortise and tenons, which I've never done in my life. So I was kind of making it up as I went along, setting the saw blade and cutting partway through, and then cutting the end with a jigsaw or a handsaw, or trying whatever I could to make it as easy as possible on myself. And then spent some time sanding down what I had cut. This was really experimental. I have never cut mortise and tenon before, and I really didn't know what I was doing. I've gotten to the point where the frame is almost completely assembled. I just have to stick on the rails for the drawer and then make the drawer. But I didn't set up the camera for the last bit of cutting and stuff because it's just more cutting. Didn't really need to see a time lapse of that. But this is not final assembly. This was just fitting. It all still pops apart. I gotta take it apart to cut in notches there, there, and there. Well, not there, there. To put the drawer rails in and then make the drawer. So there will be final assembly video still. The desk progresses. I have basically been sanding for the past couple days. I went through 3 different grits, 80, 120, and 160 I think. And I got another one too at 240 I think, but this is so smooth and nice that I'm not using it. I don't need it. I will use it on the top though, because I want the top of the desk to be as smooth and nice as I can get it before I paint it. I didn't take any video of the sanding because really it's just boring sanding, dusty, dirty, and long and loud. But now I have 6 of these pieces have some good knot holes in them because, well, it was cheap wood. 8 meters of stuff was less than 400 yen. I saved up some sawdust. I'm gonna mix it with some glue I bought today, and I'm gonna sift that first to get the chunks out. Mix it with some glue, and I'm gonna fill in those holes, and then let it sit and dry. Although filler is usually used on cracks, which I plan to do when I put the thing together too, because some of these don't really fit with the those parts as well as they should. I would have done a lot better. I mean, it's a poor craftsman who blames his tools, but it was my tool's fault. I could have done better if I'd had a table saw. I know that. But yeah, also I suck. This is my first time trying to make a sawdust and glue filler. I don't know if it's going to work. I hope it does, but I think I need to put down the phone and concentrate on mixing this, because it doesn't work very well when I'm looking through the phone. Not on purpose, but I made way too much, because I'm done. I've filled in like there and there and there and there and up there and a little one over there, and there's actually another one on this side over here. So like 7 spots or something. And I got all of this left. I don't know what to do with it. So that was a waste of glue. I mean, it's not exactly a waste of sawdust, because sawdust is a garbage product, you generally, unless you're making filler or wanting to raise mushrooms. I don't know what to do with that. I can make that stand up. So now I wait. I wait for those to dry so I can sand them down. And then when those have been completely sanded down nicely, I can assemble, and then I will need more of this. I wonder if I put some Saran Wrap on this, I wonder if it would stay moist. Put on Saran Wrap and throw a touch of water in there. That might work. I will try that. Might as well. And if not, I got plenty of sawdust left and lots of glue, so that's no big deal if this turns into a solid rock. I don't know if that's going to work well or not. It's my first time making filler. Now we come to what I think is going to be, up till now, my favorite part. Assembly of the bottom of the frame. Everything but the top, because once I got that all done up, I'll have a nice place to put the top and give the top a really good smooth sanding job. That's going to come after that is together and dry and solid. We're still days from finished. It looks like final assembly was quite a bit later, January 13th. Once I finally did start to assemble everything, it went together fairly easily. I'd written down on each piece what went where because I'd already fit it together, dry fit, and it went together quite nicely. So when it came time to glue it together, it wasn't that hard. I didn't use any clamps because I don't have any clamps big enough. I just pushed it together as good as I could after sticking glue on it, and then drilled it, countersunk the hole, and put the screw in to hold it together. And it didn't take too long to go together. It was quick and easy and a lot of fun. I really enjoy this part because it's when the thing you're putting together really starts to look like something. It's no longer just a pile of sticks on the ground that have the potential to be something. It's finally actually starting to become something. And it just feels so good to get to that point. These rails were not the final form for the desk. I had planned to put it in just a sliding drawer, and that plan changed, which was a bit of a pain for me, actually. It would have been much easier to have not had to make those rails in the beginning because they were tricky enough to make when I don't have the right tools for it, and it just created headaches for me later on. Not unsolvable headaches, but headaches. Okay, it is together. I gotta give it time for the glue to dry now, and there are some horrible, horrible gaps. Oh, look at that. You can see it light go through that gap. Oh, terrible, terrible gaps because I didn't cut it very well. A table saw would have made that better because I could have cut it very nice and straight. I know this. And again, a poor craftsman blames his tools. I'm not blaming my tools. I'm saying I'm a poor craftsman who would have done better with better tools. Yeah, so I'm gonna put the top on this and actually put some weight on it, try and keep it flat until it completely dries up. I'm not sure if it's gonna make any difference because I've already put screws in, but I can't say that's gonna hurt anything either. Okay, I didn't record it, but just finished doing all the last cutting. This is the sides of Nina's drawer, this is the front and back of Nina's drawer, this is the bottom of Nina's drawer, this is the back of the desk. That'll go here. I am pretty much done cutting. I was able to actually put everything on here and use the router to shave off the edges that were too big. It's not connected yet, so I just clamped it down with a bunch of clamps. Out of that big piece of plywood, this is all that I'm not using. Everything else I used. So I think I was pretty efficient about that, just basically by luck. 8 meters of 4.5 by 4.5 centimeter wood and 1 sheet of plywood and very little waste. I would be impressed, except I didn't actually plan it that way. It just worked out. It's just dumb luck. Maybe I should drop the plans and put them up somewhere. I'd have to measure a few things. Could do. Now I've just got to use this sucker on all of those pieces. All the plywood needs to be sanded. Get it nice and smooth. I had put the frame together on January 13th and then let it dry a lot longer than it really needed. I put the top and back on February 6th. And that was, a long process of gluing and then clamping down and then drilling, countersinking, and screwing in, drilling, countersinking, screwing in, more clamping, drilling, countersinking, screwing in, repeat for everywhere I needed to, but not in the middle because I didn't want any screws in the middle of the desk surface. So there, once I had screwed in all the sides, I just added some heavy weights on the top. Just for a couple hours. I put the top on at around 10 in the morning, and then at around 2 in the afternoon, I took all the clamps and weights off, and then did the same thing for the back as I did for the top. Glue, clamp, drill, countersink, screw in, try not to let my pants fall down, continue gluing and countersinking, and of course this time I didn't have to worry about putting screws through the middle because this is the back plate, which will just hopefully stop Nina from kicking the wall. I very carefully put a few screws through the top, trying to make sure I didn't destroy the top surface of the desk, so I was very careful about the angle and the placement of the screws at the top. Once I had it all screwed down, it doesn't look like I even left any weights on top of it. I guess I just let the screws do the work. Sometime between the 6th of February and the 23rd of February, I put that drawer together. I cannot find video for that anywhere, so I guess I don't have it. But when February 23rd rolled around, it was time to paint. Started with white for the drawer, and then Nina wanted pink for the desk. I couldn't find pink paint at the home center, so I bought red paint and white paint, mixed it together, and got a decent pink color. And it was just a matter of painting the whole thing, and actually I found I enjoyed it quite more than I thought it would. But it also took a fair bit longer than I thought it would, because there's so many surfaces to get. Every little nook and cranny from every little direction has to be gotten at and not forgotten at all. And then once the underside was done, I had to flip it over and paint the top and the front and the sides and the back and just make sure everything was pink, except the bottom of the legs, of course. And I had to show Kumiko. I'm pretty sure I gave the desk 2 coats of paint, but didn't bother filming the second coat. I don't remember when I gave it the second coat of paint, but nearly a month later, on March 20th, I gave it a coat of varnish, nisu in Japanese, hoping to really protect the paint. And after that dried, I think I varnished it again the same day. Maybe the first coat was in the morning and the second coat was in the evening? That's a distinct possibility. I don't remember exactly. This is over a year ago now. Having the desk on the carpet I could rotate around made it a lot easier. And then of course I had to do the drawer as well, which I did tape up to make sure I didn't get paint or varnish in places I didn't want. It is not, unfortunately, the next day as I had hoped. It is in fact considerably later because I got sick. I'm not sure exactly how much later it is. I don't remember when I last did this, when I put on the varnish. The only thing left really is to screw on the rails. Once I figure out exactly where they're supposed to go, and then try and get the whole thing put together. It's going to be a juggling act, just because of the way I made this. I know it. Let's just see how it goes. Getting the drawer in was definitely my least favorite part of the whole process, partly because I changed what I was going to do with the drawer partway through. I had planned to just make it slide on some wooden rails just sitting there, not really connected to the desk, just supported and held on by friction really, but I decided that was really a bad idea because any slight twist in the drawer could jam it from either opening or closing. So I bought some inexpensive drawer rails, which I've never used before, but I had to cut away parts of the rail I had already put in, and then I think repaint and revarnish, figure out how to mount the rails, get it on, trying to put this drawer in very amateurishly. I managed though. The drawer is a little stiffer than I hoped it would be, but it's totally usable, so I'm just going to go with that. But there was one little detail I had to add in before it was finished. I'm not going to tell her that's there. I'm just going to let her find that message at some point. And if she finds it soon, she's not going to be able to read it. So that is finished. Actually, not quite. I have to put some just felt pads on the feet, on the bottom, so that it's not going to scratch the floor. That's not something I need a video for. I'm going to cut a couple squares of 4 squares of felt and stick them on the bottom, and then this will move to where it's permanently going to be. I'm not done, actually, because now that I made this, Kai wants one too, but he wants his in dark green. And now that Duncan knows I'm making one for Kai too, now Duncan wants one as well. So I'm going to be making at least 2 more of these, and I am not unhappy about that. It'll go easier for theirs, because I'm going to do the drawer support differently, make it easier on myself. I really doubt I'll make videos of making Kai and Duncan's desks, because it's pretty much the same thing. What do you think? This isn't actually her first hug. Okay. Yeah? You gonna use it a lot to study?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Do your homework here. That is tighter than I'd hoped, but you can do it, right? Okay. Now we gotta figure out what I do for a chair for this.
Ow, ow, ow.
Yeah, you got my toe. Here, open up yourself. How hard is it for you? Not too hard,
Not
huh?
that hard.
Okay. It is a little tight, but okay. That's a positive reaction. Okay.